All right, let's dive right into Proverbs chapter 6. Now, I want you to think of this chapter less like an ancient text and more like a modern-day map, a map of life's biggest and most common danger zones. Our goal today is pretty simple. We're going to walk through it together, verse by verse, and create some really powerful mental images so that this wisdom actually sticks with us for good. You ready? Let's get started.
So, here's our roadmap for the journey. We're going to navigate through 5 distinct sections. First up, we have the debt trap. Then, we get this amazing contrast between the ant and the sluggard. After that, we'll see a detailed portrait of a villain. Then we'll cover the importance of your parents' wisdom. And finally, we'll wrap up with the most intense section, playing with fire.
Okay, our first danger zone is the debt trap. And listen, this isn't just about finances or credit scores. It's actually way more subtle than that. It's about the invisible chains we can accidentally create with our own words, getting tangled up in promises we make on behalf of other people.
Okay, let's look at verse 1. It says, "My son, if you become surety for your friend, if you have shaken hands in pledge for a stranger," what does that even mean? Well, picture your friend needs a loan, and you agree to co-sign. You shake hands on it, you make the pledge. That handshake feels harmless, right? But what's really happening is you're setting the first thread of a trap. Then, boom, verse 2 shows us the result. You are snared by the words of your mouth. Think about that. The very words you use to help someone out literally twist together to form a net around your own feet. You end up trapping yourself with your own good intentions. So you're trapped. Now what? Well, the chapter gives us this incredibly urgent 3-step escape plan. Step 1, verse 3, do this now. Go and humble yourself, plead with your friend. Notice it says, do this now, not tomorrow. This means drop everything you're doing, swallow your pride, and go beg to be released from that promise. Then verse 4 just ramps up the intensity. Give no sleep to your eyes, nor slumber to your eyelids. Don't even think about resting. This becomes your number 1 priority. And finally, verse 5 gives us this explosive mental image. Deliver yourself like a gazelle from the hand of the hunter. You know, that desperate life-or-death leap for freedom? It's not a casual walk away from the problem, it's an explosion out of the trap.
Let's move to our second danger zone. Now, this one is less about an external trap you fall into and more about a trap that can grow inside of you. We're talking about the mindset of laziness. And to make the point crystal clear, the chapter gives us 2 characters to compare, the diligent ant and the lazy sluggard.
The instruction in verse 6 is pretty direct. Go to the ant, you sluggard, consider her ways and be wise. We're literally being told to go watch an insect to learn something. Why? Verse 7 explains, which having no captain, overseer, or ruler. Think about that for a second. There's no manager ant, no foreman yelling orders. They just work. It's all self-motivation. And what does all that work accomplish? Verse 8 tells us, provides her supplies in the summer and gathers her food in the harvest. Every single one is working, preparing for a future they know is coming. It's just an amazing picture of personal responsibility. And you can see the stark contrast right here. The ant considers and gathers. What does the sluggard do? He slumbers and folds his hands. It's a perfect side-by-side comparison of productive action versus passive inaction. Now in verse 9, the chapter speaks directly to the lazy person, asking this piercing question. How long will you slumber, O sluggard? When will you rise from your sleep? It's a real wake-up call. But what's the answer? We get it from the sluggard's own sleepy thoughts in verse 10. A little sleep, a little slumber, a little folding of the hands to sleep. It's that classic just 5 more minutes excuse, right? It's the sound of hitting the snooze button over and over again while life just passes you by.
So what's the end result of all this snoozing? This is where it gets really serious. Verse 11 delivers a shocking warning. It says, your poverty will come on you like a prowler, and your need like an armed man. Whoa. So poverty doesn't just creep in quietly. It attacks. It's aggressive and overwhelming, like a robber breaking down your door. This isn't a slow decline. It's a home invasion by hardship.
Okay, next up. Our third section is kind of like a criminal profile. The chapter paints this incredibly detailed portrait of a worthless or wicked person. It's designed to show us exactly what red flags to look out for, not just in others, but in ourselves too.
Verse 12 introduces the character, a worthless person, a wicked man, walks with a perverse mouth. So it starts with corrupt speech. But it doesn't end there. Verse 13 shows us it's their entire body language. He winks with his eyes, he shuffles his feet, he points with his fingers. It's like every little nonverbal cue is part of a secret, deceptive code. And where does all this come from? Verse 14 tells us what's going on inside. Perversity is in his heart. He devises evil continually. He sows discord. This person's entire mission is to create chaos.
So what's the consequence for this person? Well, verse 15 is just as sudden and violent as the one for the sluggard. Therefore his calamity shall come suddenly. Suddenly he shall be broken without remedy. And that phrase, without remedy, is key. The image here is powerful. It's a complete and total shattering. There's no fixing it, no putting the pieces back together. It's a final, irreversible collapse.
Then, starting in verse 16, we get this really specific checklist of 7 things God hates. It's like an anatomy of destruction. Verse 17 starts with the eyes and mouth, a proud look, a lying tongue, and then the hands that shed innocent blood. Verse 18 moves to the heart and the feet, a heart that devises wicked plans, feet that are swift in running to evil. And finally, verse 19 describes 2 things that absolutely poison relationships, a false witness who speaks lies and one who sows discord among brethren. It's a complete head-to-toe profile of a destructive character.
After all those heavy warnings, the chapter makes a really important pivot. It's shown us the traps to avoid. Now it's going to give us the protection we need. This section is all about the life-giving power we can find in our parents' wisdom. Verse 20 gives us the foundation. My son, keep your father's command and do not forsake the law of your mother. Basically, hold on to what they taught you. But then verse 21 tells us to go deeper. Bind them continually upon your heart. Tie them around your neck. This isn't just about remembering their advice, it's about making it a core part of who you are. Imagine their wisdom as this glowing necklace, something you wear close to your heart every single day, a constant reminder of the truth.
And what does this wisdom actually do for you? Verse 22 explains its 3 functions. When you roam, they will lead you. When you sleep, they will keep you. And when you awake, they will speak with you. So it's your guide, your bodyguard, and your counselor, all in one. Verse 23 then gives us the perfect master image for all of this. For the commandment is a lamp, and the law a light. That wisdom becomes your own personal lantern, lighting up the dark and dangerous path of life so you can see where you're going.
And now we arrive at the final, and honestly, the most intense danger zone in the entire chapter. The book uses the powerful and unforgettable metaphor of fire to issue a stark warning against the destructive power of adultery.
The wisdom we just talked about, verse 24 says it's meant to keep you from the evil woman. But the real danger starts silently, in the mind. Verse 25 warns, do not lust after her beauty in your heart. And why is that internal thought so dangerous? Because of the destination it leads to. Verse 26 gives us the devastating outcome. By this, a man is reduced to a crust of bread. Just imagine that. Your entire life, your potential, your resources, your dignity, shrunk down to that single pathetic crumb you see here. It's an image of total ruin.
Then, the chapter asks a rhetorical question that's just impossible to argue with. Verse 27. Can a man take fire to his bosom and his clothes not be burned? I mean, the answer is obvious, right? Of course not. You embrace fire, you are going to get burned. It's a simple law of nature.
And it immediately follows up in verse 28 with another one. Can one walk on hot coals and his feet not be seared? Again, no way. The message is being hammered home in verse 29. The person who makes this choice will not escape unharmed. Certain actions have guaranteed, painful, and unavoidable consequences.
Now, to show just how serious this is, the chapter makes a shocking comparison. First, think about a starving thief. Verse 30 says people don't really despise a thief who steals just to survive. And verse 31 says, yeah, he has to pay it all back, maybe 7 times over, but restoration is possible. Now contrast that with the adulterer. Verse 34 describes the wronged husband's reaction as pure fury and jealousy. And verse 35 makes the key distinction. He will not accept any ransom. There's no price that can be paid to make this right. The damage is just too deep and personal, it's irreparable. And this perfectly illustrates the final outcome from verses 32 and 33. The one who does this destroys his own soul. He will get wounds and dishonor, and here's the kicker: his reproach will not be wiped away. It's a permanent stain. It's like looking in the mirror and seeing your own reflection covered in cracks and stains that can never be fully cleaned. It's a wound to your character that never truly heals. So we've walked through the 5 danger zones of Proverbs 6. The snare of debt, the trap of laziness, the profile of a villain, and the consuming fire of adultery. And we've seen that the only safe path is the one lit by the lamp of wisdom. So it leaves us with a critical question to think about. As we navigate our own lives, which of these paths are we closest to right now, and which one requires us to hold our lamp of wisdom the tightest?